Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
There. Now you made me miss it.
You don't miss a thing. How did you get in here? Never mind that now, you're here.
I decided to accept your invitation.
Oh, that was for tomorrow afternoon. Tell me, do you always dress this way for golf?
I changed into something more comfortable. Oh, I hope I did the right thing.
Well, you did the right thing, but you picked the wrong moment. I have to leave immediately.
Oh, that's too bad. Just as things were getting interesting again. When did you say you had to leave?
Immediately. Almost immediately.
Welcome to Back to the Frame Rate, part of the Weston Media Podcast Network, a weekly podcast discussing movie news, reviews, and recommendations. That was a scene from Dr. No. James Bond is celebrating its 60th anniversary next week. What a perfect moment. It's just synchronicity that we're coordinating this monumental event by discussing the new Apple TV Plus release, Ghosted, which recently hit the streamer this past week. Our theme, of course, is secret agents, and later on, during our recommendation shelf, we'll be suggesting some titles that tie into the theme of secret agent films. I'm Nathan Shore, and with me are Sam Cole and Ellie Escobar.
Woo! Hello.
Pleasure to be here.
So,
Me too.
It's wonderful to have us all back here. And hey, Sam, your audio doesn't sound quite right. Anything going on with that you want to share with our audience?
There is a very good explanation for that, because at present I am driving cross country heading back to Los Angeles. Currently, I am going through a winter weather advisory in the Rocky Mountains in sporty conditions, but so far, so good. So I would like to apologize to the audience for this episode, for my audio being rather wacky sounding, and I would also like to thank Nathan for being very accommodating and very patient with my schedule. So that is what is happening over here.
Yeah, we could have just completely skipped this week, but this is a very important episode, not just because we're reviewing this epic film this week, but Sam, you're not just headed to to California, but you're going to be taking a little hiatus, and I don't know if you want to mention why, or you don't have to, but we're going to be filling the third seat of our hosting chair with other guest hosts for a couple weeks, which is unfortunate. I mean, it'll be nice to that we have the opportunity to have some other guest hosts in here, but it is sad that you're not going to be with us for a few weeks. which is sad. I know, but we're very happy that you're going to have some opportunities to do some other have some adventures out there. Do you want to share with us, or do you want to keep your cards close to the vest?
I would be happy to. I can share a little bit. First of all, it is always a pleasure to be a part of the Weston Media podcast group and the network. And so what's happening is I'm going back to LA, and I have a new upcoming shooting a new Walks of World episode. That's my YouTube adventure series. And I have a adventure coming up in Southeast Asia. And so I'll be there shooting that, hence the reason for the hiatus. However, I will briefly be able to tap in and give a report, a pre-recorded report on the next episode. And in that episode, I will reveal in much more detail where I am and what's going on. So it will be sad to be slightly apart from the podcast, but just for a little while. And I will return just as the summer Big Guns blockbuster extravaganza season is beginning. So that's what's happening with me in a nutshell, and I will definitely go into more detail in episode 14 or 15.
That's incredible, Sam. I am so happy for you. There is definitely a little bit of jealousy that you are getting to experience this, but I'm very happy for you and excited for you, and I can't wait to not only hear about your adventures, but also see your Walks of World episodes that you produce. They're fantastic videos that you put out. So let's move on to see Ellie. Anything you want to share about your past week, or I think Sam. We lost Sam on the feed here. He'll come back. He's got the same link. But let's hear about anything you've been watching, anything you've been doing that you want to share with us.
So I spent my week pretty busy sitting a dog.
Yeah. You're not still sitting the dog, are you?
No, I'm not. But it was exhausting. He's like a little tiny puppy, but like he just has so much energy, and I had. It was just an adventure, but I love the little terror. I call him the little terror. His name is Murphy, and so nothing much I did this week except after sitting the dog, I came home on Wednesday last week, and I just relaxed and did some work in the house, and I watched the rest. I'm caught up with Succession.
When you say you're caught up, you mean up to the current season?
I am up to the current. I binge.
I'm impressed how quickly you catch up and binge shows.
No, let me tell you something. When I like a show, I become obsessed with it. And this show, I didn't go to sleep the other night. I think it was it Saturday night? Saturday. Oh my gosh, that's probably why I'm so tired. Still, Saturday night, I stay up until ready? Till 4:30 in the morning watching Succession.
Yeah. Oh my God. I too, over the past couple of weeks, completely caught up on Succession as well. It took me a year and a half, but I also am now fully caught up on the most recent episode, and this season is incredible.
Yeah. Oh.
It really is. So I am so happy.
I'm not gonna spoil it, but I did cry.
No, I am so happy, and you and I will cross the finish line with Succession at the same time. That is cool. Yay! And I hope I think Ellie, Sam, I don't think you were watching the show as me and Ellie are, but I think you and I should have a little recap discussion about the season when it ends. I'd love to do that with you.
Yeah, I love to. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah.
Can't miss that show. Nah.
Yeah. Mm-mm. Fantastic. All right. Anything else you want to talk about that you watched?
No, I'm telling you, I focused on Succession. That was it.
Okay. Good. Great.
Oh, and of course, our film.
Our film, yes. Well, I can't wait to get to that. All right. Sam, you've joined us again. Anything else besides maybe packing and moving that you want to mention?
Yes. So I did finish season 3 of The Mandalorian on Disney Plus this week. In general, I thought it was an odd kind of middling season, but the last 2 episodes, spoiler-free, were spectacular. And there were also a couple of other good episodes. In a nutshell, overall, it was a solid season. It just had some kind of roundabout storytelling styles. But I did like The Mandalorian, so I watched that. And I also, for the first time, saw Oliver Stone's 1989 film, Born on the 4th of July, with Tom Cruise. And I must say, I have a very high tolerance for, violence and action in cinema, but I liked the movie a lot, but I found some of the moments so graphic and so horrific in that film that I actually had trouble watching certain scenes, and that never happened to me. But so, yeah, in a nutshell, I enjoyed The Mandalorian. I saw Born on the 4th of July, and, man, I think there's another movie in there, but I'm drawing a blank at the moment. So, but that was basically what I did.
Born on the 4th of July is one I haven't seen in a long time, and I do want to revisit it because it came out after Platoon, right?
It did. Platoon came out in '86, and Born on the 4th of July was '89.
Oh my God, you guys, we have to do war movies. We really do.
I do like that era, and that era for war movies I think is fascinating because I think who did Casualties of War? That was another one around that time, and I think that's a little bit more middling, but it's that was that Michael J. Fox like Vietnam movie, as well. And around that same time, we also had Full Metal Jacket. It was a hot topic in the late 80s.
Hamburger Hill?
Hamburger Hill, another one. Yes.
Yeah.
So there was many of them in that time.
They were.
Yeah. But a lot of those I haven't seen in a long, long time. So yeah. So you're also mentioning Mandalorian season 3. I watched the first 3 episodes and I completely fell off of it. So I really did enjoy the first 2 seasons, but the third season just did not grab me. And I probably will finish it and catch up on it because they're expanding that universe a lot. If you've been following the news coming out from the Star Wars, all the Star Wars news coming around, it's really, there's a lot of new stuff coming out, and I think it's all expanding from The Mandalorian, I believe, and I want to make sure. I've been trying to stay on top of it, so I probably will catch up on it sooner than later, but it was not grabbing me.
Yeah, I totally understand that. The Mandalorian season 3, it was good. It just told the story in a roundabout way, kind of, and it was felt a little bit less focused. But I definitely feel that Star Wars is a little bit oversaturated in television at the moment. But there are still individually spectacular episodes. I was also a big fan of Andor. I thought that was excellent. Yeah. So I'm still on board with it. I will follow Mandalorian to the end. Season 3, a little bit middling in my opinion. I hear you 100%. Yeah.
I'm still gonna watch it, Sam, because I love Pascal. So
yeah. I watched this past week a movie from Catherine Bigelow from 1990 titled Blue Steel. Has anyone seen this?
I have not seen it, but I remember I saw I remember when it was in the theater. Yeah.
This is I'd never seen this before. It was streaming on Amazon Prime, and I was just kind of going through the library, and I finally decided to check it out. It wasn't bad at all. Ellie, I think this might be something that's right up your alley because
That's Jamie Lee Curtis
Yes,
in there.
it's got Jamie
Oh.
Lee Curtis. I think you're a fan of her, unless I misheard you from a few weeks ago.
I am a fan of Jamie.
It's got a really simple premise. Jamie Lee Curtis is a rookie cop who was thrust into this situation where a psychopath serial killer becomes obsessed with her and begins to play these mind games with her. It's not a perfect film by any stretch of the imagination. And
Probably not. But
and my big criticism of this movie is that Jamie Lee Curtis is terribly miscast in this film. I think
why?
she's too adorable in this movie. And that's the problem. I don't buy her as a cop. And I'm trying to recall if she's really ever played a cop or an agent, secret agent, like in a movie before. And, she's played a badass in plenty of movies. She's a great badass, hard-nosed, kick-ass person.
Was it Mission Impossible or was it the Fast and Furious that she was in?
Well, she's been, I think like True Lies is one thing.
True Lies.
But she's never really played like a straight-laced police officer. And I think there's a reason for that. So, but anyways, the point is, it's a decent film, has that early 90s production value. And, Catherine Bigelow, I think, is a good director and does a decent job with this. So it's a mild recommendation. And right now it's streaming on Amazon Prime. So, Ellie, I think this might be something you wouldn't mind checking out because it's kind of like up your alley. But
I'm gonna definitely check out. I remember this title, but I don't remember that. I never seen this movie. No.
Yeah, it was just a cat. This is one of those things where it's called like an impulse buy when you're in the checkout line and you see like a magazine on the shelf. Like, I'm just gonna like check that out and see what it is.
I'll check it out just because it's Jamie in it. So
yeah. There was nothing wrong with her, but it was just the whole movie. I'm just like, that's just such an odd choice. I could see, I don't know who I would picture in this movie instead of her. I don't know, but it was just, it was bizarre.
Maybe, Hillary's, I can never say her last name. Swank.
Hilary Swank.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
So that's really the only thing I watched this week, other than catching up on Succession, which I caught up on season 4. That's really it. The other thing I did do this week, I got to see some more local theater. One of my best friends, I think I've mentioned this on the podcast before, is local playwright Lenny Schwartz, and he opened up his newest play, Dramatis Persona, which is playing at the Rise Playhouse in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, and I got to see some live theater. It's a fantastic play. Unfortunately, I think by the time this podcast is released, it'll be down to its last couple shows. It's playing this upcoming weekend, which will be today. So this is coming out on the 28th. So it'll be the last 3 shows are April 28th, 29th, and 30th at the Rise Playhouse in Woonsocket. So if you do have the chance to hear this episode and get tickets, I highly recommend going out and seeing it if you are local to Rhode Island or Massachusetts. It's an amazing play. About some of the travesties that happened in the local theater community in Rhode Island. So that's all I really say about it. So that's a little bit what we've been doing, what we've been watching. Let's move on to our next segment. And as I teased earlier in our intro, next week is a very special anniversary. James Bond turns 60. Dr. No came out on May, I think, I don't have it right in front of me. I should, but I think it's May 8th, 1963 was when Dr. No came out. And I just happened to notice this over the last couple of days. And I thought, you know what? We're reviewing Ghosted this week, a movie about secret agents. And it feels like if there ever was a time where we should at least mention this on the podcast, this is the episode to do that. So I figure, at the very minimum, we could at least kind of share a couple brief thoughts on the James Bond franchise in at least general terms. And I would love it. At least I put a little list together of our my top 5 favorite James Bond movies. I don't know if either of you guys had a chance to make a list. Maybe Ellie, I think you said that you might not have been able to do this, and that's okay.
No, I have.
'Cause
I have a list.
Oh, you do have a list. I know
well,
that.
I've seen. So I'm not a fan of James Bond, but I have seen the films. Several films, not all of them. Like I think there are people that I know that have watched all of the films. From the different James Bond eras too.
Yeah.
But I do I have to say, and I'm sorry I cut you off. One of my favorite James Bonds is obviously Roger Moore.
Is Roger Moore your favorite Bond?
Yeah, because when I was a young woman, a young girl, I always thought he was so hot. Oh my goodness. I know. I must have been like 12 or something. I don't know. And I thought
Roger Moore just did it for you. Wow.
Was so hot. Like in the 80s, right? So I was like, oh, like the blue eyes, and he was so tall. And yeah. So
I'm picturing you with a Roger Moore poster in your bedroom, and
right on.
Wow, I'm learning so much about you, Ellie.
Plus, in the 80s, in the Roger Moore films, we had that ugly guy, the giant with the teeth.
Jaws?
What's his name? Jaws?
I forget the actor's name, but the character I think you're referring to his name was Jaws.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, he's not ugly. He's cute in his own way, I'm sure.
I met Jaws at a convention in Vegas, and talked to Jaws about his experience filming Moonraker. That was a really good time.
Mm. There you go, Moonraker. Moonraker?
So the actor we're talking about is Richard Kiel, by the way. I think we should mention that.
Yeah, Richard Kiel, yeah.
Is his name? That's Jaws?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He's 7'2". And he passed away at 74 in 2014.
Oh, okay.
He was also in Happy Gilmore with Adam Sandler. Very funny in that movie.
Yeah.
Was he? Oh, I don't remember that. Okay.
So, Sam, do you have any thoughts you want to share about James Bond? Favorite Bonds or?
So I'll just say I grew up with the James Bond franchise. My first memories of watching it, I had a next door neighbor, a friend named Trevor, and when he was 6 or 7 years old, his parents started watching Bond movies with him. So from a very, very early childhood, I remember watching Sean Connery Bonds, and a lot of Roger Moore Bonds. So for me personally, I've personally enjoyed Bond, and I've started seeing them in the theater since 1989. I saw License to Kill with Timothy Dalton in 89 when I was a little kid. So my personal experience, big fan of Bond. It's kind of a staple for me.
I think very similar with me. I think the first Bond that I saw in the theater probably wasn't until GoldenEye. I don't remember having a chance to see it in the theater until then. I don't think I became a Bond fan I was a Bond fan, but I don't remember the desire to see it in the theater until I was probably in my 20s or so. But I remember renting these movies all the time. The local video store had all of these, and I loved these. And I remember I was probably started off as a Roger Moore fan because those were the ones that I think were constantly on cable. And yes. And for whatever reason, I will admit, I think I kept seeing Moonraker over and over because I was such a big Star Wars fan. And for whatever reason, I love Moonraker. And Moonraker does not hold up very well, but Moonraker, it was constantly on whatever it was, like TNT or the USA Network, and that was the one that I think I kept getting shoved down my throat over and over. That and the one that was right after that, perhaps
Moonraker is crazy, cheesy,
Yeah.
way over the top. It is a ridiculous, sometimes enjoyable movie, but it was a box office smash. That was a big hit in 1979. One of the biggest Bond movies ever, still accounting for inflation. Big hit. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry. We were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
And
What was that first Bond? What's his name?
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery
was in Dr. No was the first one.
Was he the very, very first Bond ever?
On film, yes.
On film, why is there
Right. Well,
another?
no, yeah, he's the first Bond, yes.
That's my mom's favorite Bond.
It is interesting how everybody at different generations will always have their Bond, their first Bond, and it is very generational. Like my dad will always have Sean Connery, and this generation's Bond is most likely Daniel Craig.
I actually, you know what? I do like Daniel Craig too. I think he's cute. I mean, I'm rating this movie is based on the cuteness of the Bond. And so Daniel Craig, I love his smile. I think he's really cute. And Carlos likes Roger Moore too.
Roger Moore has a lot going for him. He's very, very charming and well spoken, and he's got a lot of swagger to him. So I really enjoyed Roger Moore's growing up, and he was my Bond because I didn't see the Sean Connery films until after I probably saw all of the Roger Moore films.
But wasn't there another in between Bond between Craig and Roger?
Yeah,
Who was that guy?
So between that, after Roger Moore, you had two films with Timothy Dalton in the late 80s,
Timothy.
and then we had Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, that's right,
films.
those two. Yeah, I didn't like them too. I don't know. I didn't find them cute at all. Oops.
And and I think they all have their unique qualities to them.
But so you know what I love most about the James Bond movies, really, is the fight scenes. I know. I love fighting movies, and I love the car scenes. Oh, those are my favorites.
Car chases, the action scenes are the measuring stick for a lot of the Bond films, and less and less. I mean, what I've loved about the newer ones is that it got away from the campiness, the Daniel Craig movies, and that was really what burdened a lot of the earlier ones. So I think they did a really, really good thing when they kind of reinvented the franchise with Daniel Craig. However, with that came this, they kind of tried to turn it into a series, I guess, which I think was a double-edged sword with it. And I think, I'd like to hear your opinions on the Daniel Craig era in general, because I think ultimately there are two great films that they got out of that, but three films that didn't really stick that well, at least in my personal opinion.
No, I agree.
And it is interesting. Ultimately, does two great films out of five mean that it was a success? Because I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do going forward. I think it's going to be a while, at least another 5-6 years before that franchise may come back. Now, it is right now a cash cow. I mean, these Daniel Craig movies, all made a good amount of money. So it'll be interesting how fast they want to turn this franchise around and start making more Bond movies. But will it go back to the way it was pre-Daniel Craig, where it's really just an episodic style of filmmaking, or are they going to try to make this like a series where they all kind of are interconnected, or will they lean into that even more? Because I don't know if Bond works at its best when you have to have that through line. I think these movies suffered because of that in a lot of ways.
Why do I feel like the last James Bond though I felt the last movie I watched was I was like, did he die? Is this over? The James Bond thing?
Well, this most recent version of James Bond with Daniel Craig, I don't think we're spoiling much because I think a lot of people know this already. The James Bond character did die at the end of it.
Yeah.
And that is the end of the Daniel Craig
era.
The Daniel Craig era. And I think that's fine that is. And I think going forward, they will reboot it with another version of Bond, and it may be a very young Bond. It might be one where he's just entering
What if they had a female Bond?
They've talked about that as well. There's so many things they could do. There is a whole Bond universe they could explore. It doesn't have to be James Bond. It could be the whole,
Janet Bond.
It could be a lot of things. And I kind of actually hope, I think that is the answer to this. It doesn't necessarily have to be James Bond.
Yeah.
It could be James Bond adjacent, and establish. I think that's what they might do, is create a James Bond franchise that has multiple characters in this franchise. Because, franchises are the key to this, not just have one character, but to have multiple characters within a franchise under the umbrella of the James Bond moniker might be what they are thinking about doing. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. And also like you were saying, James Bond can easily be rebooted over and over again. So it's like the character of James Bond, if there's no actual linear story through all of those movies, but you can just keep going and going. And so when the new actor replaces James Bond in 2026, maybe 2027, something like that, it will just continue on without a hiccup. It's just like the track continues.
Right, exactly. So we'll see what they end up doing.
Maybe they should make Tom Holland James Bond.
You never know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they go that young.
He's kind of sure for it, but
And they want somebody who's going to be with them for the next, 15 years. I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
If they go that young. So what I'd like to do, because I think it'd be really cool for us to go through our favorite Bond films from 5 to 1. And that would be kind of fun to do, because I like this. I'm curious how similar our list may be or may not be. And let's see where we all land. Sam, would you like to tell me what your number 5 James Bond movie is?
Yes. Give me one moment, because I thought about it in my brain, starting with 1 first and going to 5. So let me just, one second. So 1 was her, and then, man, this is hard. It's like testing my left brain. Wait, let's see. 1 was, 2 was, I would say that 5 would be For Your Eyes Only with Roger Moore. That's a very it's a more serious Roger Moore adventure, and there is a spectacular ski chase in the middle of that movie. It has the best skiing action sequence of any James Bond film so far, and I actually liked the plot, and it was a course correction tonally from Moonraker, because Moonraker was so huge and so silly, they went back to a more kind of serious Bond to excellent results. So 5 would be For Your Eyes Only. 1981.
Ellie, do you have a number 5 pick?
Casino Royale. Well, just because Craig's movies are all the same to me. It's like the same thing. Like, I don't very quietly remember the the evil people in the movie. Who was the evil person in that movie?
Mads Mikkelsen in Casino Royale. I think he was the bad guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my number 5. I can't say too much about it.
Okay. My number 5 is actually GoldenEye. And this pick is on shaky ground, probably because I don't think it necessarily holds up as well as I might think it does. It came out, like I said, at a time when I think the world was extremely thirsty for new Bond and an actor to portray him, and I thought Pierce Brosnan was a good choice at the time for this role, and I think this is the only decent Pierce Brosnan Bond movie that still is you can return to. This is Bond when he's in a full male slut mode in this movie, which is kind of funny. I think maybe the last time Bond is maybe established, it portrayed that way. All the sexual innuendos are in this, and not to mention there's some great villains in this movie. It's got a young Sean Bean in here, and it's the first appearance of Dame Judi Dench is in this movie. He's got Alan Cumming in this, and Femke Jansen's in this. I love the characters. It's just a great cast in this movie. I think some of the best cast of any Bond movies in this movie. So I think this.
And don't forget Mimi Driver's cameo as a Russian.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and also Desmond Llewellyn as Q has a great gadgetry scene in this movie. It's really funny as well. So it's despite the fact that I think this movie it does not date very well. It is fun. And I don't care. I still enjoy watching this one and seeing James Bond drive a tank. I remember in this movie, it's still silly and funny. And I do return to this one probably more often than I should. So it's GoldenEye.
I like it too. I definitely like GoldenEye. I hear that.
Yeah.
It's a very mid-90s. It's a very mid-90s Bond, and it dates it. But if you like that, then it's just a pleasure to watch that movie.
Yeah. All right. So, Sam, you're number 4.
So my number 4, I think, would be, and it's tough because so many of them compete with each other, but I would say my number 4, I'm going to put one more Roger Moore film on there, and that would be The Spy Who Loved Me, 1977. That was a spectacular Bond. Lots of scenes in Egypt, shot in the desert, shot in the pyramids. A very exotic feeling Bond, a vision obsessed with blowing up the land and living under the ocean. A spectacular use of the giant stage at Pinewood when they go into the main villain ship at the end. That would be my one more Roger film, my one more Roger Moore movie on the top 5 list. And a quick side comment, there are a lot of other Roger Moore Bonds that I love that I know they aren't good. They are wildly entertaining, but for critical purposes, they could not reach the top 5. But The Spy Who Loved Me absolutely does. That'd be my number 4.
Cool. All right.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details. With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
All right, Ellie, you're number 4.
My number 4 is The Spy Who Loved Me. You know, for me, it's like, what do I say? I don't even know if that's my number 4, to be honest. Because I was debating between The Spy Who Loved Me, because I really freaking love Roger Moore. But I was going to do like, I wanted to find a Craig film, and then I was thinking like, oh, should I do Craig? No, but then there's Live and Let Die.
Live and Let Die.
No, I don't know. Wait, where is that song? It's one of his movies that I really love. It's like, I think it goes something. Nobody does it better. Is that Live and Let Die?
I get the song in my head.
No, Jim.
It's I get the song in my head. Hold on.
I think it's the Spy. I think it's The Spy Who Loved Me.
It might be. I'm trying to get the songs in my head now.
When you
Whatever.
were young and your life was an open book. Paul McCartney. He's in the car. Just kidding.
No.
Live and Let Die. Not a great Bond movie though.
Live and Let Die. So I'm gonna put Live and Let Die. As
All
number
right.
4.
So my number 4 is The Living Daylights. I like this one. I always thought that Timothy Dalton was an underrated Bond, and you know, after some what I think are some terrible turns by Roger Moore in the last couple of his Bond movies, I like the fact that we have a more serious and cynical version of the character. So all I can say is I like this I even like his follow-up, License to Kill, nearly as much as this. So I think that The Living Daylights is one of the more underrated Bond movies, and I dig it. So that's all I'm going to say. Living Daylights is my number 4.
Interesting. I agree about Timothy Dalton. I think he was very underrated. And to be honest, Living Daylights is the one I know the least. I haven't watched it as much, so I can't really chime in. I remember it vaguely, but I was always a very big License to Kill fan because there's this big tanker truck chase in Mexico at the end of the film. But I 100% agree. Timothy Dalton, underrated Bond, and he would have stayed longer, but License to Kill did very poorly at the box office in the summer of 1989. So there was a 6-year gap before Pierce Brosnan came back with Goldeneye. So Bond was dead for a while.
Sam, let's get to your number 3.
Okay, number 3. I realized that by mentioning The Spy Who Loved Me, I accidentally pushed out one that I wanted on the list. But I would say, oh boy, this is so hard. I would say number 3 would be, you know what? Honestly, GoldenEye would be my number 3. I really like GoldenEye a lot because I liked the fact that I thought GoldenEye, because the Soviet Union had collapsed by 1995, and so there's this underlying theme in GoldenEye that treats Bond as a relic of the Cold War. And so it has that whole kind of spy Russia undertone to it. And I thought it was a really good kind of reboot and update. And the opening sequence when he dives off the dam and jumps into the plane on the motorcycle, to me is so spectacular. It's such quintessential Bond, and I tend to like Bond movies that have a spectacular set piece at the end, and that whole antenna array that comes out of the lake in Cuba, which is also in the movie Contact, Robert Zemeckis. That's actually like a real dish in somewhere in Costa Rica. So they use that, but I just like the fact, I love it when a Bond film has a lot of contrast visually in it. So to have a snowy midsection in Russia and then to have the third act in tropical, beautiful Cuba, I just like that change of scenery, and it really has a global epic feel. So GoldenEye would be my number 3.
Great. And I just love that you brought up that opening action sequence. It is one of the best, not just for Bond film, but I think of the mid-90s and how epic that opening. And you don't see Pierce Brosnan for a while in that opening action sequence. They hide his face and you don't know who the new Bond is going to be. And I just remember how they kept him in shadows and how he's scaling down that dam. It is amazing sequence.
Yes, they introduced him so well. It's great.
Yeah. All right. Ellie, what is your number 3?
The Spy Who Loved Me. I love The Spy Who Loved Me. I found out who sings the song, by the way. It's Carly Simon. Simon?
Carly Simon, yeah.
Yeah, it's called Nobody Does It Better. I love that song. It's stuck in my head for days. And I just love the scene of this film as well. That's it for me.
My number 3 is Skyfall.
Wow.
This is the third Daniel Craig film. This is my pick. It's I think it's just anchored by that incredible villain with Javier Bardem as Raul Silva, an ex-MI6 operative, plus some incredible action sequences. Probably maybe some of the best ever in the franchise. This film, I just remember, also made bank at the box office. So I think this movie just set a whole new plateau for action in the franchise. So this is my third pick, my number 3 for Bond films.
And again, Skyfall with the whole exotic element. Skyfall goes from London to Shanghai
or everywhere.
To Scotland. Skyfall's all over the world. I love it when Bond movies venture further than Europe and go way out there.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. Mm-hmm.
All right, Sam, what is your number 2?
Okay, so number 2, I want to give. This is not my number 2. I would like to give an honorable mention to Skyfall because Skyfall was going to be on the list, and it almost would have taken place of The Spy Who Loved Me. I just have such a kind of history with that movie. But I have to say, for number 2, even though there's so many other good ones, I got to give a shout out to Sean Connery's Goldfinger for number 2 because it is such a classic Bond. I believe it came out in 1964. It really set the template. It really cracked the formula for what a Bond film is. And because of that film, it set up the tone for the other Bond films. So Sean Connery in Goldfinger would be my number 2. The scene at Fort Knox at the end is incredible. I love the soundtrack. I love the story. I love the villain, Goldfinger. And I just have a real emotional attachment to it because I love Goldfinger. My father loves Goldfinger. My mother and my grandmother both saw Goldfinger in the theaters in the 60s. So Goldfinger's a big movie to me. So wanted to get Sean Connery on the list. Goldfinger number 2.
Great. Ellie, what do you got for number 2?
No Time to Die.
No Time to Die.
I know. It's probably not one of the best movies, but I do like it because it's the end of that James Bond in that movie. I love Ana de Armas. Is one of my favorite actresses right now, and she does a badass scene fighting, which I was like, whoa. So supporting my girl Anna, and I know I just loved it. I loved there was I felt some emotion in there for me. Like, it's kind of sad at the same time because I do like Craig. But yeah, I just love that the scenes and that got kind of emotional for me at some point, especially when he, blows up. I was like, wait. I was like at the end, I'm like, wait, did he just died? Oh my God. Yeah. Oops. I hope I'm not spoiling it for anybody, but
no,
too late.
I think my number 2, I share with Sam. It is Goldfinger. And for me, this is, no pun intended, the gold standard of the classic Bond film. And I think most of the world would agree. This might be most people's number 1 as well. I think it's a perfect Bond film. It's got just amazing one-liners. It's got some of the best gadgets of any Bond film. And for good measure, I think it serves as the best Connery performance ever as in the role of James Bond. And I can't add anything else that Sam didn't already mention. It sets the tone for the franchise going forward. So it is my number 2. All right, so we're at our number 1s. Sam, what do you have at number 1?
Okay, so my number 1, based on pure enjoyment level and the fact that I think it is an excellent Bond film, is no other than Daniel Craig in Casino Royale. I think it is a masterpiece. I'd also like to point out that both Casino Royale and GoldenEye are both directed by Martin Campbell.
Yes.
He's a precise, precision, character-driven director, and GoldenEye and Casino Royale are both on the list. I would say, to sum it up, the reason Casino Royale is my number 1 is because I think it is a perfectly executed Bond origin story, and it just has spectacular action in it. And when I first heard that a major scene in the film would be a poker game, I thought to myself, how is that possible? This is going to be the most boring Bond movie. I don't want to watch a card game. What is this? Then I saw it in the theater, and I thought it was riveting and suspenseful and amazing. So for me, Casino Royale, a big, fireworky, under bright lights number 1.
Ellie, what do you got for number 1?
Skyfall.
Yeah, and see, Skyfall is so good. And I honestly think Skyfall and Casino Royale kind of compete with each other in terms of quality. Casino Royale has the slight edge with me, but Skyfall is excellent. I hear you 100%.
Well, I loved Skyfall from the music to I think I liked everything about that movie.
This is where projects come to life. Our showrooms are designed to inspire with the latest products from top brands, curated in an inviting, hands-on environment, and a team of industry experts to support your project. We'll be there to make sure everything goes as planned, from product selection to delivery coordination. At Ferguson Bath, Kitchen, and Lighting Gallery, your project is our priority.
Schedule your showroom consultation and see more from brands like Monogram at build.com/Ferguson.
This is where projects come to life. Our showrooms are designed to inspire with the latest products from top brands, curated in an inviting, hands-on environment, and a team of industry experts to support your project. We'll be there to make sure everything goes as planned, from product selection to delivery coordination. At Ferguson Bath, Kitchen, and Lighting Gallery, your project is our priority.
Schedule your showroom consultation and see more from brands like Monogram at build.com/Ferguson.
Yeah. You know, the scenes, the fight scenes, the cars, the outfits. I loved it. So that's why it's my number 1 too.
Great. My number 1, I also share with Sam. It is Casino Royale for pretty much everything you already said, Sam. I adore this film. I think Daniel Craig absolutely reinvented the character of James Bond in this movie. And I think Martin Campbell, I give so much credit for this. Again, as you mentioned, he also did GoldenEye, which I think there's obviously a common denominator between these two films, establishing a new Bond for both. I think there's something to that. Plus, you know, this was the first Bond that could really kick some ass. And we hadn't really seen that. Daniel Craig is jacked in this movie, and seeing Bond, a version of Bond as an intimidating presence on screen was such a revelation for the franchise. And it was definitely a much needed change after seeing several Pierce Brosnan films that I think were quite lackluster. So this movie just exploded on screen, I think. And it was just a brilliant move by them to make this just completely change the formula for how a Bond film could be. So I love this movie. And my number 1.
Nathan, I'm curious, do you have a least favorite James Bond film? One that you dislike very much? Because I definitely do.
I'd say what is the Sean Connery movie where he came back after he took the break. What's it called?
Oh, that is awful. That's Never Say Never. I don't even include that one in my thoughts, but yeah, that's pretty bad.
I'm trying. That's probably up there.
I am not a fan of the man with the golden gun. I love Christopher Lee. I think he's a great actor, but I find the pacing, I find everything about that movie somewhat dull. Man with a Golden Gun, 1974, Roger Moore. Boy, does it not work. I've given it a shot. I like
All right, so we're cutting out a little bit, but we understand the man with the golden gun is not a movie you like. Not a fan. All right, so I know this episode is going along, but I just wanted to ask you, Sam, this might be something that's up your alley. I pulled up something that I think you'll enjoy. You might already know the answer to this. What do you think is the highest grossing James Bond movie adjusted for inflation?
Adjusted for inflation, that would probably be Thunderball.
Wow. Yes.
Am I right?
Yes.
What the heck, Nathan? What kind of question is that?
I don't know. I thought I might stump him. Do you know what the top 10 James Bond movies are adjusted for inflation? I do have the list here. I actually wanted to read this off quickly.
You actually looked it up?
Yeah, I was curious.
Oh, well, that's a good curiosity.
Sam looks frozen here. I'm gonna hope that he can hear this. But the top 10 James Bond movies adjusted for inflation are Thunderball. I was going to ask you, Sam, do you happen to know what the second highest grossing movie is in the Bond franchise?
Mm-hmm.
The second most successful one?
Highest grossing adjusted for inflation.
Not. Let me see. I will say. Moonraker?
No. By the way, you were right on Thunderball. 1.33 billion was what Thunderball was at. The second is Goldfinger at 1.329 billion.
God, that's
number
crazy.
3 is Skyfall with 1.249 billion.
Wow, that makes sense.
Number 4 is Spectre. Number 4 was Spectre with 937.1 million. Number 5 is, if you want to take a guess, it's a Sean Connery movie.
I don't know Sean's font. I don't know.
It is You Only Live Twice with 842 million. And number 6 is From Russia with Love, 822.9 million. Number 7 is Casino Royale, 810.1 million. These are domestic grosses, by the way, just so everyone knows.
Okay.
Number 8 is Moonraker with 751.6 million. Number 9 is The Spy Who Loved Me, 745.9 million. And number 10 is Quantum of Solace, 732.2 million. So
wow.
I'm impressed that you got Thunderball. You just knew that immediately.
You just knew it.
For inflation. Yeah. So
That's
anyway.
nuts.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyways, all right. So that concludes, I think, our discussion of James Bond. Far longer discussion than I ever thought it would be. Let's get to our review of Ghosted.
Any word?
She ghosted him.
I bet she isn't even seeing your text.
She does travel a lot for work.
Go to her.
I'm going to London.
See, you get it. It's a grand romantic gesture.
That is amazing, mate. 5,000 miles to surprise a girl who you've only met once, especially if she's the one who ghosted you.
No, she didn't ghost me. She just doesn't have an international calling plan.
Oh, right.
Where am I?
Oh, God, you have the wrong guy?
I'm a farmer.
Wait.
Whoa.
Can you walk?
That was a clip from the trailer of Ghosted that just hit the streamers this past week. It stars Ana de Armas and Chris Evans. Plot is as follows. Cole falls head over heels for enigmatic Sadie, but then makes the shocking discovery that she is a secret agent. So who would like to begin sharing their thoughts on this film?
I'll give it a shot. While my audio lasts, I'm going to give it a shot.
Okay.
So I will. I was not a huge fan of this film. I thought the first 20 minutes were an exercise in storytelling torture, and I was just sitting there. I said, okay, well, I was gonna, have some water, but now I'm gonna pour myself a really stiff scotch to help with this movie. So here's the thing. I didn't know anything about it or anything about the story, and so I was not aware of the sort of action spy element. So I thought that it was just going to be this romantic story about being ghosted, and I just found the beginning very just cliche and underwhelming. I will say that when the action started, I thought the bus chase sequence was pretty good. To me, I really liked the actors, and I like Adrian Brody. I like all the people in the movie. To me, there was something about it where it didn't feel like I was watching a movie. I felt like I was watching bits of ideas and concepts sort of strung together, and it reminded me of films like Romancing the Stone, or it reminded me of other movies that were a bit more full-bodied, where I felt that this film hit kind of one note over and over and over again. And in terms of Chris Pine's character arc, I thought it took him a while to change his tune from just saying, "What? I can't believe I'm here. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me?"
Did you say
finally,
Chris
in
Pine?
the last 20 minutes, he started to adapt, and I was like, "Finally, God!"
Did you say Chris Pine?
Yeah, he said Chris Pine.
I think you meant Chris Evans. That's okay.
Yeah. I was like, Chris Pine is not in
It
this
doesn't
movie.
matter. It doesn't matter. It's okay.
I'm back. I mean, I enjoyed the comedy, and I liked it when they would meet people and 5 characters got shot, killed, and run over in the period of 30 seconds. It was funny. I honestly did not hate the movie from that point. I was entertained by the action adventure, but there's something about this film, the undercurrent of it, it didn't feel on the bones for me.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, Ellie, why don't we get to your thoughts?
It's like, when your teacher gives you homework to take home, like a research paper, and you don't do your research, but last minute you do put something together. That's how I felt about this film. Now, I was really looking forward the first time I saw the previews, because obviously Ana de Armas, my girl, is in the film, and I love her. And of course, Chris Evans, it's who wouldn't like Chris Evans movies? But then I started watching this thing, and I am 20 minutes into this movie, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to keep watching this film, because it's just not doing anything for me. It's so badly put together. I mean, like Sam says, I did like the bus scene at the beginning where they're being chased, and that was pretty cool. And Chris Evans is kind of it's funny because he's funny. I love the. Should I mention? Maybe I'll wait into the spoilers, but because I don't want to ruin the movie for everybody else. But it just to quickly just say I'll talk about it in the spoilers. But what? Maybe 2 stars and a half for me, if that, maybe. Only because I love Chris, I love Anna. I think they're great actors. There's a bunch of great actors in this film that just do little cameos in the movie, and I was like, oh my god, it's so and so, it's so and so. It almost feels like there's a whole Marvel universe in the movie, and yeah, because all those people there. But I personally, uh, it wasn't what I expected. It wasn't, and then you have the chemistry between these two. Boy, I have to say, the chemistry. I had better chemistry with Chris Evans in defending Jacob that Anna did with him in this movie. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. So I'm looking at the IMDb page for this film, and I see names of human beings. There's a director, there's writers, producers, there's real human crew members associated with it. There's real human crew members associated with this film. However, I don't feel there's an ounce of humanity in any part of this film at all. I feel as though this movie was constructed by AI, especially the writing.
Wow.
I have nearly nothing positive to say about this movie. I find everything about this film to be terrible. And it does start with the script.
Yeah.
A lot of the dialogue and how the story pretty much plays out. There's supposed to be this great chemistry between Chris Evans' character of Cole and Ana de Armas' character of Stady. Chris Evans and Ana and these two characters, I felt nothing between them at all. I don't understand.
I felt nothing either. No chemistry. No chemistry. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I don't understand their attraction to each other than the fact that they're both extremely attractive people. We're seeing them on this spontaneous first date, which includes some of the most banal dialogue of the film, where Cole is falling for her. Yet we're seeing them learn nothing about each other during these scenes. I don't know about you, but I got this bizarre, like, Ferris Bueller's Day Off vibe in that scene as well. They're just kind of going from, like, location to location, like in museums and around the city. A few scenes later.
Oh, no. Ferris Bueller, even those parts are done way better.
But it just had this weird, like, feel like they're just, like, going from, like, all over the city, having these banal conversations. I believe me, Ferris Bueller is 10 times the movie, but I just all of a sudden I had this weird vibe that, like, how are they going all over the place on this first date? Like, they just covered so many locations and so much territory in, like, so little time.
I tell you, it's like when your professor in college tells you to write a 20-page research paper, and you don't do it until the day before it's due.
So a few scenes later, Cole is visiting his family that's out on a farm. And apparently this is the family business, which I still didn't buy for a moment. They don't seem like farmers, but it does not explain what they farm. It just feels so surface level. Nobody, including his parents, feel genuine to me. You know what else drove me nuts? And this is kind of a minor nitpick. His dad refers to him as coleslaw.
Yeah, his family seems so fake to me. His family seemed so fake. It was like a bunch of actors like, hey, what gig do you have next week? You know?
That just got under my skin so much. If my name was Cole and my dad referred to me as Coleslaw, we're having a goddamn serious conversation. That ain't flying past the age of 7.
I'm telling you.
So to summarize, before we get to spoiler talk, what I think of this film, I think this film is trying to explore debunking the conventional spy film, such as James Bond, where the man is the unflappable globetrotter who is a weapons expert and a womanizer. And here we have the opposite. Chris Evans is this hopeless romantic everyman, salt of the earth man, kind of dopey, and Sadie is in the other role. It's a gender swap movie. And I have nothing against reversing the roles in theory, but the way it's executed in this film is it's not funny. I felt there are no stakes, since I never care about them. I never really cared about the Adrian Brody character getting the briefcase open. And I think just the characters are just not fleshed out and are paper thin. So I give this as many thumbs downs as I possibly can for any movie we reviewed. I've seen here.
Adrian Brody does a better job in Succession than he did.
Yes.
Nathan, I totally agree with you, and I am going to bypass my own. I always try to be like kind and like, well, I'll give it a shot, but I agree with you. 2 thumbs like way down to this film, and the only reason that I liked the action a little bit, I didn't care about the characters at all, but I just thought once they got to, other countries and had action, it just gave the movie a little bit of an adrenaline boost and made it tolerable, but it was still not a movie. It's not a movie. It's being stuck together. Yeah.
At one point I felt, remember Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie?
Let's get the spoilers right now so we can just talk about everything else in this. Okay? We're in spoilers right now for Ghosted, and I want to actually talk right now about the cameos that were in this. I thought there were all these unneeded cameos on here. Yes, they were on a certain level, added a little levity to a moment, but they did absolutely nothing. I'm referring to the moment where we had a Captain America Marvel reunion with Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan, and for good measure, we threw in John Cho. I don't know why, but in hindsight, I thought it was dumb because it just was a waste of time. It didn't do anything to further the plot other than it was a little bit of fan service that helped me crack a smile for just a moment. But I was like, well, why?
Yeah, I feel you, man. That's exactly how I feel. You just described what I wanted to say about the cameos.
It did not establish anything, any stakes, any plot momentum in this. It was just like, hey, let's call up some buddies and get them in here. And then later on in the movie, we had Ryan Reynolds, who I think was just paying back the favor from, I think, Free Guy when Chris Evans was in his movie for a little cameo. So I think it just made me want to do a facepalm every time this was going on.
I don't know what the point of the movie was, honestly. I don't know what the point. I don't. She's a CIA agent, and okay, I've seen CIA. Okay, no, it's just crappy. I'm sorry. No. I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but I was expecting something different with this movie.
And there's another thing that completely got under my skin in this movie that I just felt absolutely obnoxious, and that were the amount of needle drops in this movie. Oh my God. I think this warrants a discussion because I think the use of popular music in films, when done right, can really accentuate a film. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but think about how well Quentin Tarantino or Martin Scorsese uses music in their films and how they're geniuses.
Music is everything too.
But there's sometimes the exception to the rule. But an example of a song that is used in this film that I think just doesn't work, or where it feels like just an arbitrary needle drop, is when the song My Sharona by the Knack is playing. When Sadie is driving that bus in Pakistan, the song has no connection to the action taking place. It feels like they had a certain budget for music, albeit a good sized budget, but has zero thought put into it.
First of all, that's one of my favorite songs, okay, from the 80s. I like to dance to My Sharona every day. But let me tell you something. I feel, okay, you nailed it, because when I first heard the song, I'm like, I looked at my kid, I was like, what the hell? What is this song doing here? It doesn't go with the scene.
It has nothing to do with it. And all it made me think of was like, wow, this scene made me long for another movie scene from a much better film where the song has is diegetic. I'm thinking of
Reality Bites.
Reality Bites, exactly. Ethan Hawke, Ravlo, Steve Zahn. They're in the convenience store. The song goes on the radio, and they all start dancing, and they're like, yeah. And I want to watch Reality Bites now.
Me too.
No, exactly. And what's really strange about this film is not only did it not feel like a film, but I feel like these flaws would be even worse if you saw it at a movie theater. I thought it really felt like a TV production, and I don't mean that in a good way. There was something cheesy, and I actually tried to find. I was curious what the budget was of the film. I could not find it.
40
I
million.
didn't look that hard, but I don't know if their
40?
numbers are internal. But
Million?
I saw it reported 40 million budget.
how much?
40 million. It
40?
looks like it. 40 million. Yeah, it looks like it.
Who gave the money?
Is it
Somebody,
Apple?
somebody must have liked the script then.
Well, I don't know what to say.
Maybe because, Apple TV likes Chris Evans.
And it was shot entirely in the DC area.
What? Even the
and also it's like if you're trying to if you're trying to have a spy movie with an atmosphere, the best they could come up with for an opening shot is like this bland drone shot just following his car. The cinematics were so dull in the movie to me. It just didn't. It never elevated cinematically.
And something else though, at the beginning of this film, how they meet and how quickly they go on a date. I'm like, it was just it's written poorly written story, and to me, it's just like it was hurting my eyes, my ears. It was just, but hey, if they had fun with it.
This is where projects come to life. Our showrooms are designed to inspire with the latest products from top brands, curated in an inviting, hands-on environment, and a team of industry experts to support your project. We'll be there to make sure everything goes as planned, from product selection to delivery coordination. At Ferguson Bath, Kitchen, and Lighting Gallery, your project is our priority.
Schedule your showroom consultation and see more from brands like Monogram at build.com/Ferguson.
This is where projects come to life. Our showrooms are designed to inspire with the latest products from top brands, curated in an inviting, hands-on environment, and a team of industry experts to support your project. We'll be there to make sure everything goes as planned, from product selection to delivery coordination. At Ferguson Bath, Kitchen, and Lighting Gallery, your project is our priority.
Schedule your showroom consultation and see more from brands like Monogram at build.com/Ferguson.
The only thing I really liked were the CGI. I liked the CGI bullet ants and the hornets and all the bugs. That was about it, yeah. Scarlett Johansson was originally supposed to play opposite him. It was going to be her, but she had to drop out due to a scheduling conflict. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, she dodged a bullet.
She really did.
One second.
She was like, this movie sucks. I don't want to be a part of it.
She probably, Sam, she probably read the script and was like,
yeah, she read the script and she was like, nope, have fun with that, Chris.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I've done that myself a couple of times with scripts sent to me. I'm like, no, I think I'll pass.
A lot of things about this just felt really cheap. The fight sequences. I mean, again, we just came off of John Wick 4, where we were seeing the pinnacle of quality fight sequences. But you could see, with the quick cutting, the slow motion, it was they did not have the budget for quality. And another thing was the special effects I thought were terrible. When we go back to the bus sequence for a moment, when Chris Evans is hanging off the edge there, that was some piss poor blue screen work there. It was terrible.
So bad.
It does have a 22% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That good?
Oh.
Let's get to the climax for a moment, because I have some thoughts on this final scene here. This is one of the most ridiculous scenes I'd ever seen. Oh my God. So let's talk this for a moment. They're in this revolving dining room at the top of this tower. I've been to these restaurants before. There's one in Seattle. There's one in Niagara Falls. These are in Toronto as well. This is a common theme. it is literally impossible for one of these dining rooms to just go that haywire, for those gears to just start spinning out of control, for a restaurant to start turning at such a high speed, creating that many G's where people are pinned against the glass and start falling apart. It is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. It's
It was so stupid, and not only that, but it was already moving fast before there was a malfunction. When you eat at those restaurants, you don't go around in a merry-go-round that fast. You're eating food. You're gonna get the whole thing was ridiculous.
Yeah, but the fact that something happens, I don't know what happened that caused this thing to just completely malfunction, to become like the restaurant revolving death mobile. That so many G's are being created where people are pinned. You know those rides at amusement park where the floor drops and you're pinned against it? That's what's going on here. The motor would blow out on this thing before anything like that would ever happen. I know I'm nitpicking this, but the writer would have to realize that this is just not at all possible. This just it just doesn't happen. I'm just amazed at the suspension of disbelief that they are asking the audience to accept in this scene here. I don't know. And to the point where objects that are attached to the restaurant are flying to the edges of it. And one of the most disappointing things, and tell me if I'm wrong, it is set up that Sadie is not afraid of anything, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And later on, it's actually, there's a callback to it during, I think there's a lie detector that she is on, and it actually beeps when she says that she's not afraid of anything, and that's actually a lie. We never find out what that is, correct?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, that pissed me off. That pissed me off. But we don't even get to find out.
There's so many things that were just put there, and you're
not even in a post-credit scene did we find out what that is. And I believe me, I fast forwarded to find out what is that thing one thing she's afraid of. It could have been sock puppets or something really dumb. I don't know. All right, so that is our review of Ghosted, and we're going to move on to our recommendation shelf.
Sir,
What?
are either one of these any good?
I don't watch movies.
Well, have you heard anything about either one of them?
I find it's best to stay out of other people's affairs.
You mean you haven't heard anybody say anything about either one of these?
Nope.
Well, what about these two?
Well, they suck.
So tonight's theme is secret agents, and movies tie in tonight to tonight's theme. Ellie, what have you got as a recommendation tonight for films with secret agents?
Oh my goodness. One of my favorite films, Burn After Reading. It's
I love Burn After Reading.
Oh my goodness. I could watch that movie again and again. I just Ethan, the Coen brothers directed and wrote the movie, and Brad Pitt, Frances McDormand, George Clooney, John Malkovich, J.K. Simmons. I mean, they're my favorites. Some of my favorites right there. The chemistry, the whole story, the comedy. There's fun parts. There's funny parts. There's even some sad parts in this movie. It's not a long movie. It's I think it's an hour movie, maybe a little more.
More than an hour.
It's more than an hour. Yeah, it's an hour, 96 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
I just if you're looking to see a good sort of spy, I don't know, is this a spy movie? I don't know if it's a spy movie as much as espionage. right? That's the same thing, right? So anyhow,
it's got like CIA agents. And,
CIA agents.
yeah.
I mean, they're trying to stop the whole thing revolves about the CIA. What is a disc that has information or memoirs of someone that I think it was John Malkovich that worked in the CIA. But I love all the characters. Malkovich pretended to, he's a drunk and he thinks he's not. He doesn't want to accept that. George Clooney, Brad Pitt. Okay. Oh, I loved him in this film. He was funny. And I don't think before this movie, I don't think I've seen Brad Pitt be funny in a movie.
He's rarely done comedy.
Right?
I don't know if he's ever done comedy before this, but he is on another level in this movie.
Dude, he was like, wait, when I watched the film, I was like, I had no idea that he could be funny. And for me, he was like one of my favorite characters in the movie. So is George Clooney, and I mean all of them. I really love them.
The closest thing I can think of is a movie from 2000 called The Mexican, which really is not a comedy, but it had some comedic elements. And it's about the Mexican is like a gun. And it's not a great movie. It's him and Julia Roberts, but I remember it had some comedic elements to it.
Oh, is it Brad Pitt? Oh, I remember that movie. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. I did see that movie. I don't know if it's stuck with me.
I don't think it's that good, but I'm trying to think of like comedic roles for Brad Pitt. It's one of the, this is the first one he probably did, which is a full-on comedy.
If you guys have not seen Brad Pitt in a comedic role, this is the one to watch.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're a fan of Brad Pitt, of course, and George Clooney, he's just funny. He does serious roles, but there's a funniness to him at some time. Like as opposed to Ghosted, this actually is well written, in my opinion. A great dialogue.
Yeah. This is a Coen Brothers movie, and do you know where this can be watched now? Is it streaming?
Let me see. Streaming. Where's it streaming? HBO, Amazon Prime, Vudu.
Oh, good. All right.
Yeah.
Well, it's on VOD, I'm sure. But I was just curious if it's streaming anywhere right now. But great. All right.
Yeah.
So that is Burn After Reading. That's a great pick.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Sam, are you with us? If you are, do you want to recommend something?
Yes, I am here for my spy film because we were choosing one that's not part of a franchise. I would choose Roman Polanski's The Ghostwriter, starring Ewan McGregor and Pierce Brosnan. And I really don't want to give away secrets for people that haven't seen the film, but I will say that Ewan McGregor is hired as Pierce Brosnan's ghostwriter. He's a political figure who's retiring and writing his memoirs. And so Ewan McGregor must travel to Martha's Vineyard, where he meets with Pierce Brosnan and his team, but he's brought into a world of confusing intrigue and danger. And long story short, it's rumored that Pierce Brosnan is actually in the employment of the CIA, and it's possible there is something hidden in his manuscript that reveals this. And so they hire Ewan McGregor just to write a very bland memoir book and get paid for it, but Ewan McGregor starts to dig and peel away the layers, and it turns out that his life is not only in danger, but the previous ghostwriter that was hired to do the job drowned mysteriously. So he gets sucked into a world of danger and intrigue. It's a very low-key movie, but I absolutely love it. And this really does not take away from the movie. I would say its only setback for me, and it's a minor setback, Roman Polanski is not allowed to come to the United States, so they could not actually shoot on Martha's Vineyard. So the island that doubles as Martha's Vineyard does not look or feel like Martha's Vineyard at all. but it doesn't matter that much because it's implied that it's Martha's Vineyard. That's an island that I happen to love, and so that's the only thing that slightly, it would have been absolutely amazing if the movie shot there for real, but it really doesn't take away from the plot or the story. Tom Wilkinson is in it. He's really good. It's just a very adult, subtle, kind of dark thriller. I love Ewan McGregor's performance. Lots of intrigue and political spy stuff under the surface. So that would be my pick for a spy genre film. A secret agent.
I thought for a second, I thought you said Ghost Rider. That's the one with Nicolas Cage, but that's a Ghost Writer.
Right. Very different movie.
Yeah, I noticed that.
All right. My recommendation this week is a very early Alfred Hitchcock spy thriller from 1935 titled The 39 Steps. This film stars Robert Donat as Hanny and Madeline Carroll as Pamela. I would recommend this film much more than a review this week, especially since it shares some similar themes. It's about the Robert Donat character who tries to help a female counter-espionage agent, but when she is killed, she stands accused and must go on the run to save himself and stop a spy ring that is trying to steal top secret information. For a mid-30s film, it's probably shot like on a UK backlot, but it has a really grand scope and feel. Lots of elaborate sets, especially some cool exterior locations that seem unique for the time. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. There's like I said, there's a uniqueness to this film, especially the lead performances from Robert Donat, who has a vulnerability to his character that wasn't typical for this time. You think of leading men like Cary Grant and Clark Gable and Gary Cooper in the 1930s that share a certain quality, a confidence, a swagger that audiences were attracted to. But Donat brought a very different energy to his performance, a calm demeanor that I think is perfect for this film. His co-star Madeline Carroll is fine in this, but it's not the best part of the movie. She's actually not in the movie all that much. There's actually a great chemistry between Robert Donat and Peggy Ashcroft, who plays Margaret, the Crofter's wife, in a very heartfelt scene. This is a very good, underrated early Hitchcock film, which is streaming on HBO Max, and it's also on the Criterion channel. You can find it on Pluto TV, and it's on VOD. I really like early Hitchcock movies. I haven't seen many of his early work, and I'm kind of slowly getting through them. I've seen almost all of his later stuff, like anything from like late 40s onward, but his 30s work, I'm kind of a novice at. So this was kind of a fun find that I saw a couple months ago, and I definitely recommend it. Definitely one of his better ones from this era. So that's the 39 Steps. So let's get to the last segment here, some of the upcoming releases. We have an interesting variety of them coming out over the next week. Out in limited release is Sisu, which I'm mentioning this because this is something I'm actually looking forward to. I saw a trailer for this a couple of weeks ago. This is only in limited release. It's a Finnish historical action film from writer-director Jamari Helander. During the last days of World War II, a solitary prospector crosses paths with Nazis on the scorched earth retreat in northern Finland. When the soldiers decide to steal his gold, they quickly discover they just tangled with no ordinary miner. If you guys check out this trailer, I think you'll be very interested in this. It kind of has definitely like a John Wick type vibe to it. So I check that trailer out if you haven't seen it yet. It looks interesting. Coming to Disney Plus is Peter Pan and Wendy, is the latest live-action adaptation of the fictional character created by Scottish novelist and playwright J.M. Barrie. The plot appears to be simply a retelling of the classic tale. Wendy Darling, a young girl looking to avoid boarding school, meets Peter Pan, a boy who refuses to grow up. Wendy and her brothers and Tinkerbell travel with Peter to the magical world of Neverland, where she encounters an evil pirate captain. I wonder who. This adaptation from director David Lowery I personally think he did a pretty good job with the Pete's Dragon remake. I think it's one of the better live action remakes they did in the last 5-10 years. So I didn't think that was that terrible. I'll probably end up watching this with my kids sooner than later. The film stars Jude Law, Alexander Maloney, Ever Anderson, and Joshua Pickering. And out in wide release is the coming-of-age adaptation of the book of the same name titled Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. This is the wildly popular book that was originally published in the early 70s from Judy Blume, and it's getting its big screen debut with director Kelly Freeman Craig at the helm. Raised by a Christian mother and a Jewish father, an adolescent girl starts to ask questions about religion and faith. The film features Abby Ryder Fordson, Rachel McAdams, Benny Safdie, and Kathy Bates. And finally, out in wide release is Big George Foreman, our second big screen boxing movie in as many months. Actually, the full title is Big George Foreman, The Miraculous Story of the Once and Future Heavyweight Champion of the World. That's the full title. This is a biopic about heavyweight boxing legend George Foreman, of course, from writer-director George Tillman Jr., and stars Chris Davis as George Foreman, Jasmine Matthews, John Magaro, and Forrest Whitaker. Any of these tickle you?
No
Ellie?
tickle here. No tickle here.
I was hoping that Big George Foreman would be something you would want to jump out and see.
Yes, but he's not one of my favorite fighters, so no. George Foreman was not one of my favorite boxers.
Okay.
No. I do want, you know what tickles my fence? Or whatever you call that thing? The fancy tickle thing? Whatever.
Fancy tickles?
Yeah. It's I can't say his name. Beau
was Afraid?
Beau is Afraid.
I am all for that.
I want to see that so bad.
Maybe that'd be something that we'll review very soon.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
All right. Mm-hmm. Well, that's our show, clocking in at a large number.
We can't even see Sam anymore. It's so dark.
Yeah, it's so dark. It's in the middle of the night. Yeah.
Sam,
it's early
are you there?
He's 2 hours behind us.
Sam, is it Sam?
He's crossed the state line by the time we've finished this episode. I'm guessing.
Sam,
that's no joke. I'm almost in. I think I'm almost in New Mexico. Not even kidding. I've gone through the Rocky Mountains in this podcast.
Sam, is it scary at night? Is it very dark? Don't take the wrong turn, okay? Just don't take the wrong turn.
Oh, I won't take a wrong turn. This is a GPS Apple iPhone fueled journey.
Yeah, my GPS Apple always takes me to the wrong places.
There's only I-80 west for another 400 miles, so all I got to do is drive straight. That's it.
Don't get adapted. Did I say
adapted?
Don't get. How do you say the word?
Especially by the aliens.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Stay away from Area 51.
If you see a balloon, let us know.
I will, and I will return. And wait, and I'll to imitate. Empire. I'll end my dialogue by saying a line from Empire Strikes Back. Luke talking to Yoda. This is me talking to our listeners, and I'll return. I promise.
All right. Well, we're gonna let you go. And Sam, I wish you safe travels to the West Coast and beyond.
Same here.
Thank you very much.
We look forward to you tuning in from wherever your travels take you over the next couple of weeks. Please keep us and our listeners apprised to your whereabouts. We look forward to hearing from you.
I definitely will. I appreciate it. I'll keep you guys updated and looking forward to seeing your beautiful faces again on the flip side.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Safe travels.
We'll miss you.
Thank you for tuning in. Back to the Frame Rate is part of the Weston Media Podcast Network. Please, you can email us directly at backtotheframerate@gmail.com. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Back to the Frame Rate and on Twitter at Back Frame Rate. I love our handle.
What about the TikTok, Ellie? What about TikTok? Is TikTok coming?
Yeah, I think a TikTok channel is imminent.
I'm so horrible. Okay. I will try to have it done this weekend.
All right.
Okay.
TikTok next week, everybody. TikTok coming next week. You can find past episodes of this show and other podcasts from the Weston Media Podcast Network on our website. And I will drop the link in our show notes and show description. And that's it until next week. And next week, we will have a guest host joining us. Ellie, do we have confirmation on our guest hosts?
We do.
Our guest host will be Ellie's son.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! What's your son's name? I don't know.
His name is Carlos.
Carlos, yes. Carlos Escobar.
No, he's Aviles.
Aviles. I see. So shows how much I know about all of our guests joining us.
Exactly.
Keep it operation.
But he's
Carlos,
very in tune with filming and films, and he's one of the best critics out there you'll ever find.
Sam, you're in trouble.
Oh, Sam, you're in trouble. trouble.
So Carlos will be joining us for our next review. We will be figuring that out soon, and I'm excited.
Me too. I've actually done a couple of projects with my son in actually films, and commercials. So yeah.
All right. Until next week, everyone. Good night.
Good night.
I want you to know it's over.
Well, bye.
This is where projects come to life. Our showrooms are designed to inspire with the latest products from top brands, curated in an inviting, hands-on environment, and a team of industry experts to support your project. We'll be there to make sure everything goes as planned, from product selection to delivery coordination. At Ferguson Bath, Kitchen, and Lighting Gallery, your project is our priority.
Schedule your showroom consultation and see more from brands like Monogram at build.com/Ferguson.
This is where projects come to life. Our showrooms are designed to inspire with the latest products from top brands, curated in an inviting, hands-on environment, and a team of industry experts to support your project. We'll be there to make sure everything goes as planned, from product selection to delivery coordination. At Ferguson Bath, Kitchen, and Lighting Gallery, your project is our priority.
Schedule your showroom consultation and see more from brands like Monogram at build.com/Ferguson.